Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Basscast Radio. I'm your host, Brian Carter, and my boys are back in the house with us tonight, Bass Geek and Thomas Aarons with Fishing the DMV. What is happening, everybody? First of all, I hope everyone has had a great week out there. We just wrapped up the Big Bass Tour on Smith Mile Lake, and we're going to talk about that a little bit here in a little bit. But it's quiet. We got Cat going on right now, fall, and the Basscast.com. Our tournament series, we had a great event a week ago, and congratulations. I think we already went over that, but I think we ended up with like 26 boats, so it's not a bad turnout at all for that. But that's another topic we can always talk about. Why is nobody fishing tournaments anymore? And it's not forward-facing sonar, everybody. But it's a big, huge topic. But the numbers are down across the board. But Angler's Choice has put out their schedule for 2026. They're coming back to Smith Mile Lake. We'll go over that. And then Angler's Choice Open House is back again in 2026 as well. We'll go over the dates for that as well. But before we get started, dive into a few topics here tonight. Let's go around the room real quick and see what the heck is going on in everybody's world. We have a text message group. We're not as active as we have been here lately. We've been kind of quiet because it has been kind of quiet around here. But Bass Geek's putting out the content. DMV, man, 5, 6, 7. If he had 10 days a week, he'd make it happen. But what's up? What's up, Bass Geek?
Hey, man, just throwing out the videos, getting a little hate from talking about live scope. But, we talk about everything, bank to boat, all kinds of different baits. And, we, as I always say, don't kill the messenger, don't kill the reporter. I'm just here to test, use, play with a bunch of stuff and tell you what I think of it.
Guys, if people out there really want to learn about forward-facing sonar and really want to learn how to become better anglers, and that's what Geek's doing. I don't care if you like what the heck he's doing or not. There's plenty of other channels. There's bank fishing channels. There's, you name the channel. But, if you really want to learn, that's why you go to Bass Geek's channel.
Yeah, we do. Like I said, we are all inclusive. We hate on no one. We want to make fishing great again.
Damn. So there you go. Thomas, what's up?
What up, everybody? Putting out more episodes, and there are chapters in the Bible. Drove up last week to the Maryland trout stocking hatchery, talked to the biologist up there. Really, that's going to drop probably the same day this does. I had a guy on who was one of the people that runs a trout organization, but he also got a PhD in aquatic insects. And so we talked about how hellgrammites, nymphs and stuff, and how fish actually rotate bugs, which I love going down rabbit holes like that. So that was a fun little tangent. Be looking out for that. Dude, there's just so much going on in our area. There's so many smallmouth tournaments right now, Susquehanna, Juniata, and what the hell's that? The Upper James River had another smallmouth tournament. So it feels like the big glass boat tournaments are starting to wane down, but then you have all these other little pockets that are starting to heat up.
That's the way it is here. It's all your championships and everything are kind of held in, September, October. So now all the quitters are going to the woods.
That's true. That's true. It is trout fishing big down near y'all? I think it is in the Roanoke area. I don't know about.
Yeah, they're up that way. 90% of the streams here are rainbow trout stock, so there's not a whole lot of native. It's you go out there, you pluck them out because they threw some in. You go home, cook them, and then the stream's pretty much dead.
Do any of your lakes have trout in them or trout eaters?
South Holston's got trout. A couple of the smaller lakes have got trout in them, but again, it gets so warm down here that from the guys that I've talked to on the DWR, they're basically like most of them die off in the summertime. So
interesting.
I know, like you were saying there, trout here, they'll stock the rivers, and I'm not sure there's certain amounts you can get, buy a trout stamp and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of guys that do it. I mean, a lot of guys I work with, they love doing it. And, for here, it's when they make the announcement opening day, when the fish are being dropped in the water, if you're not there, like Geek said, they're gone. I mean, it's like they're gone.
It's a big deal. It really is. I think Pennsylvania, guys in the comment section can help me out. I think that's the #1 trout state in the East Coast. I think it is with just trout water and stuff. But then you have Virginia, which is a big one, and then Maryland's kind of sandwiched between there. And it's interesting because we don't have a lot of trout eating lakes for largemouth. There's a couple I think that exist where I think there are some big bass that just chow down twice a year when they get dumped in there. But I'm surprised there's not more lakes like that around here with all the trout that get stocked.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Me too. I actually went to one I went to it, was it this year? Really thinking that, took the scope up there, was trying to see, but man, there was nothing really to be had there.
Really?
Yeah.
I know
all about the 13 inches.
Big. I know it's a lot of crappie fishing going on right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's starting to
stock the freezer.
Yep, that's starting to heat back up. And the boys were talking about this past weekend at the Big Bass Tour, and a lot of guys here go down to Hyco Lake, which, if you guys don't know, never been to Hyco, it's a treatment. It's a, what do you want to call it? A plant. It's heated all year round. Yeah. So it stays warm all year round, and people go down there and catch more than sometimes they're supposed to.
And if you'd like to, go check out my channel. I just did a whole breakdown on Hyco and Mayo last week. Really interesting, because Hyco had an issue with flooding this summer when that hurricane came through, where it was too much water and it kind of blew out up and over the dam. Lake is finally getting back to normal, but it's cool because honestly, I really didn't know a lot about Mayo or Hyco. So doing this in depth about how these lakes are built, I was like, oh, that's why don't they have more tournaments at some of these places? Because they're pretty cool. But again, that's how it is.
Hyco's got Five Alive. Five Alive does a tournament series down there on Hyco Lake. And if I remember correctly, there's only 1 or 2 boat ramps, period. And that is it. That's one of the, I've been on Hyco, and it's a great lake. I love it. I went down there, it's been at least 10 years ago now. Me and Kenny Beal went down there and fished and had a good time on that lake. But I think, like I said, it's only 1 or 2 ramps, and the ramps aren't very big. I'll never forget the story there. I watched someone back into that ramp and pretty much pin their boat. I mean, it was like one deal's like, oh God. And I was like, Kenny was like, was it Kenny? He said, I'm gonna go get the truck. He said, you pull the boat on. He said, I don't want to have nothing to do with this. So I was like, holy crap. Guys, so like I said earlier, the Big Bass Tour just wrapped up over the weekend. 784 held up the whole entire time. I'll be honest, I said it was going to be between a 7.5 and an 8. I never thought, $30,000, man. How would you like to sit there? You caught this fish at like 6:30 in the morning, day 1, and you're sitting there for 3 complete days. Waiting. I think there was one little over 7 that came in on the final day, but that's the closest one to it. Gosh, I mean, $30,000. Guys, they fished out of a aluminum boat, if I remember correctly, with a 115 on the back of it. No scope, no forward-facing sonar, just cranking in the right spot. They were in pinhook, they said, at the right time. If you guys haven't checked out the video, it's up on the website. But I'd be sick. I probably wouldn't eat for 3 days.
I feel like with these big bass events, like this is a hot take, to win overall, to have the biggest fish of the event, I think it is harder to do that than win an Elite Series event. When you have 500 boats on a lake one day, I just buy a lottery ticket. Personal opinion there. I just think when you get that many boats on a lake for any type of tournament, it's way more of a lottery pick that you get on the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
And Dennis Ensko, congratulations to him. He's the angler, caught it. So Actually, couldn't have gone to a nicer guy. Really, really freaking awesome guy. And congratulations to him and his whole entire family. I mean, like I said, like I said, one fish can change your whole entire life. I kind of like the cash. I know usually most of the time in the spring they give away a boat. I think I can't speak for them, but I have a feeling it's because they went in, they threw this event on at the end of the year, added it to the schedule. I don't know if they couldn't get a boat or what the deal was, but they did give away the $30,000 in cash, which I'll take cash. And I think if I remember correctly, he probably don't have to claim a lot of taxes because he's at that age. So it might have been all right for him, to be honest. He might be retired for all I know, but he's not a young man, so he might have got a little tax break on that.
That's good. That Social Security don't buy a whole lot of bait and tackle.
No, I don't. This will help out tremendously. Also, guys, the 2026 Angler's Choice Team Tournament Trail schedule has come out. It is back. I know, I'm hoping you guys are happy. I'm not sure. I can't speak for everybody. We talked about it earlier. Boat traffic's down, numbers are down. Tournaments, we're all hoping for a great year, and we've all kind of been disappointed a little bit, but it is what it is. But March 7th and 8th, guys are going to be back on Smith Mountain Lake, going out of Parkway Marina. April 11th and 12th, they'll be on Kerr Reservoir, going out of Occoneechee. May 2nd and 3rd, going out of Lake Norman. And then September 26th and 27th on High Rock Lake. And the Classic will be announced at a later date. So they're back. I know 4 events right here in our backyard and 4 events in North Carolina. I don't mind traveling, to be honest. I kind of like the lakes, and I like going to different lakes, so I don't mind the traveling, and I love camping in my rooftop tent. So
don't lie, you just like to sit there and get drunk as hell while the tournament's going on.
I can't find any friends anymore who want to drink, dick on it. No, I do have a great time camping and hanging out with everybody and getting to meet new people, and like I said, going to different bodies of water. So it's really cool to have that schedule back. I want to say I don't see it here, so I'm not going to say. I've heard that they're going to be one more update to the schedule, not event, but just the way they're doing things. So I'm really excited about that coming back for 2026. I know you guys are as well. Also, the Angler's Choice Open House, January 16th and 17th is going to be in Lexington, North Carolina. January 23rd and 24th is in Martinsville, Virginia. And January 30th and 31st is going to be in Spindale, North Carolina. Guys, if you're not a fan of crowds, which we have to be because we go to the Bassmaster Classic and Red Crest and the Richmond Fishing Expo and Tennessee, the Knox Vegas Fishing Expo, which me and Geek get to hang out there, and that's a lot of crowds. Then the Angler's Choice it's a great turnout. I'm not sure, they have not made anything about the lineup, who they're bringing, but the last couple of years has been a pretty stacked lineup show with lots of professional anglers down there, 4 or 5 different pros on top of Mr. John Cruz. But other than that, 4 or 5 different pros. And hey, we got a couple new retirees this year. Skeet Reese retiring and Shaw Grigsby retiring, so maybe they get some of them in there. So these events are pretty freaking cool. And if you get to the Martinsville, you get a Martinsville hot dog. So there you go. So come on out, support the open house. The schedule is out. I will have all this. I will start doing this. If you guys want to get me your schedules for 2026, it's something I really need to get someone to pay do, because it is so overwhelming, guys. I'm not lying. It's just, I'll spend a week during Christmas. I'll spend about 3 days updating all the schedules on the website. That's like me not doing nothing but schedules. And I'm only doing Virginia, North Carolina, and South Carolina. I mean, if I did other states, it'd be crazy. And if you guys want your schedule on the basscast.com, media@thebasscast.com, send it there, and we will get it up on the website to help promote your event or your team series or whatever solo series, whatever you got going on. So,
Brian, I was thinking about you today.
uh-oh.
And so, I was thinking about, you run a good trail, the Bass Cast Trail, And, I was talking to two young men on a live. They had a little live stream going, and we were talking about the state of bass fishing. And I was thinking, my theory on the whole BFL and all that is that really that stuff from a business aspect, to me, I would think the MLF is ready to get rid of it.
Right.
Because it can't be profitable anymore. And, the feeder system's already been set up somewhere else. That was kind of the gist of what we were talking about. And I was like, my opinion is that a lot of your regional tournaments that are already out there are already better than the BFLs, better payouts, better setups. I know you was talking about some of the regional tournaments up your way, maybe be having issues, but you seem to be you seem to be doing pretty good. So when's Brian going to expand to a truly regional tournament series?
Holy
and
cow.
maybe even link up with somebody like, Bassmaster to send, your top two guys to or top 5 or 6 in points to the team series. Maybe you're the man for the job, bro. I believe you are.
Guys,
I'm rooting for you.
Thank you, Geek. Put me on spot here.
I don't know if that was sincere. I think that was more sarcasm.
I think it was. You know what, guys? We can talk about this really freaking quick here. I don't know what it is. I don't know if you guys might not like me. I don't know what it is. Don't like Danielle. Don't like what we do. I'm not really sure. You tell me you do, but I really don't know. But I sit here and do payouts for all these other tournament trails around here. We pay out the best. Our entry fee is been consistently $100 for God knows last damn 10 years. We did go to a registration fee because I saw everybody else taking your money and nobody else cared, and you were just throwing it like you wanted a lottery ticket. Now, I know other trails do side pots. In 2025, I introduced a $25 side pot. Thomas, you want to talk about this? This other trail, which I'm friends with Albury on there, they got 100, a 50, and a 25 side pot, gold, silver, and bronze on top of the $85 to $100 entry fee. And you guys don't mind throwing your money away. I mean, I grew up in a bar, and we gambled on horses every weekend. Okay, I'm not gonna lie to you. I had a bookie when I was a kid at 15 years old. I mean, there you go. You guys want to know about gambling? I know gambling pretty daggone well.
When does this book come out?
I don't know. So I mean, I don't know what else we can really offer. I've tried to go to other lakes, haven't done really well at other lakes because there are a lot of events at other lakes. I mean, and a lot of events that are already kind of built up. So, I mean, I really did think about the Alabama Bass Trail, and everybody down there does an amazing job with it. And what they do is awesome. And what that thing's turned into, holy cow. I mean, it's like a miniature Major League Fishing event.
Yeah. See, me and Thomas could
water,
see your live streams.
Yep.
What she's been able to do has been freaking amazing. I mean, she's done a hell of a job down there at the Alabama Bass Trail. They just wrapped up last weekend. Congratulations to them for their final event for 2025. I know their schedule's out for 2026. So, I'm kind of waiting to see how the ground flattens around here. You know what I'm saying? I've already got a couple of people who have turned their schedules back, told me they're not going to host an event next year because the numbers are down.
Shifter out, letting it all fall through.
So I haven't decided what I'm going to do for 2026. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, it's frustrating. I mean, I know Steve Camp is another one that does the same thing with a really high quality regional trail, 2 different versions. the economy sucks. Like I get frustrated. I know Hank gets frustrated with people and live scope. Sometimes I get frustrated when people act stupid. It's like, we don't know what the problem is. This is space physics here. It's like people are poor. It's like it's not science rocket what's going on here, but we're gonna keep asking like, oh no, everything's great. We have no idea why everything is down. Ugh. Like, no, guys, it's getting more centralized on. You're gonna be fishing around the lake that you're closest to because that's the cheapest thing. If you live on Smith Mountain Lake, you're just gonna fish Smith. You're not gonna drive to Claytor or Kerr or somewhere else because money. That's where we're at. And again, look at how many online tournaments are, how many monthly tournaments there are, all these other things. You throw a bump board, and for 2 hours in the evening, you can scratch that competitive itch, and you don't have to spend the money. I don't know how you fix that, though. I don't know how you get the genie back into the bottle with this. Maybe when things quiet down and everyone feels like they're, they can feed their families, that everything will crank back up again. I don't know. Or are we in this transition where you have so many people. And this is what has been always weird to me when Bass puts so much time into the kids. I don't think there's a great transition there of going from college where everything is free and thrown at you to now, can you afford a $100,000 bass boat? Can you afford the entry fees of the Bass Open? Can you do that? Is there a percentage? 100%. But there's a huge drop off of guys like, I'm getting married, I'm starting a family. I don't have that disposable income to chase that.
Yeah. And I think from a professional and business, if I was running Bassmaster or I was running MLF, especially MLF, my theory would be, I've said it before, I'd get rid of the BFL. I would. You've already got the feeder system coming through college. You'd have a little draft for those guys. You can use the Toyotas, the guys that are serious about trying to make it that way. There's that. And then to me, now I would, and I still can't believe that they haven't got rid of what is it, the Tackle Warehouse?
Mm-hmm.
I just can't believe they haven't got rid of that. And just use the Toyotas and the college stuff. And I think we are in a transition. I think you're exactly right. We're in that transition where it's moving away from those tournaments where regional, why not? Let's look what Bass has done with the clubs. The clubs for anglers who wanted to get started, whether you had a boat or you didn't, was one of the greatest things ever. Because you could go around with guys in your town and you could swap out. And then every single one once a month had a meeting where you'd stand up there and lie about what you caught them on. But you built community.
Yeah,
that community is dead. I mean, it's obvious now in fishing with all the negative Nancy and all that. Where's the community at now?
Mm-hmm.
We hear that from the high school and college kids now. But if you're an old head, and you're right, the kids straight out of college, they're not going to be able to afford a boat, but they are going to be able to afford a kayak. They are going to, whether they stay with kayak fishing or they, move to boat fishing, or however it goes. But I really think that Bass has sort of laid the groundwork for here's what it is. And now you notice they weren't in any rush to rebuild and own when the Bass Nation left. They sort of started their little thing and let it fizzle out. And, I don't think they care. I don't think MLF cares. I think they're like, here's what it is. And then let the regional, the places like Morristown Marine, like, the future Basscast, regional tournament series who can affiliate themselves, because that's the biggest thing. We hear a lot of guys who talk about, we know the payouts suck in the BFLs. We know that, now they charge for regionals. When I fished the BFLs back in the day, you didn't pay, you qualified for regionals, you didn't pay an entry fee for those.
Mm-hmm.
And And I think all of that is to slowly decay that system and slowly weed that out and let guys like Brian run these regionals and let them have, because the only reason you fish the BFLs right now is for one reason and one reason only.
All American.
There you go. That's it. And I think they will always have a system for the lowest tier level, the club level. Because how many times do we see every year BASS, I'm sorry, I forgot his last name, the club angler, Brian, the guy that almost won and then unfortunately passed away. That story gets told.
Oh, Fish Whistle. Yep. I know you're talking about. Yeah.
So, but it's always and when they walk out, that club member or whoever it was that made it, that's a great story. They're never going to do away with that, but it's going to be. I think it's going to be the tournaments that are run regionally by whoever it is, Brian Carter, and you'll attach yourself to whatever league you want to go and fish a red crest or a classic.
That's what that was one. I guess that was kind of the idea, like you were saying about for the local tournament series, because Bass Nations like Virginia, Tennessee, their numbers were down so low. But at the same time, though, I was really, guys, when I started the Basscast.com, the Bass Nation of Virginia was 200 and some boats.
Yeah.
And over time, the last in a Region 2 tournament, which is our biggest region here in Virginia, was between 70 and 100 boats. Hell, I think the last Region 2 tournament might have been 20 boats.
Yeah. Well, even here.
In the last Bass Nation of Virginia event, hold on a second. In the last Bass Nation of Virginia event might have been 60 or 65. But like you're saying, that team series, the team championship or whatever it is, that you can qualify through Bass if your club or your local organization has enough boats and qualifies and all that stuff, had gotten really, really big. But the Bass Nation of Virginia or a Bass Nation event, being that club, it was you were a member, you paid your dues, and a percentage of all the fees that were paid in throughout the event, the payback was for the team. So it was like the numbers had gotten so bad, there's no team money in there. So when the team went to go fish wherever for the team, for the their little championship deal, then to move on and fish the next one and next one, you go to the Bassmaster Classic. But now I think you got to pay all that out of your pocket.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean,
well, go ahead.
But they're spending more money in college. They saw this big, huge flood in college. Brandon Carter came through college. We saw that. Brandon came through, and the college just like lit up, and the faces got like Christmas time.
Go
ahead.
Let's go down that rabbit hole together. Come with me. So why does that work? Why do we like children? Because they're cheap slave labor. Why do you think the Little League World Series is the greatest thing ever? Because that is the best. Like, you're just watching slave labor right there. What do you give them? You give them a pat on the back and a free bat, and that's it. And you make billions. You don't have to pay them. You don't have to pay high school kids. You don't have to pay college. No entry fees. You don't even have to have purses. It's perfect. The main issue, circle it. The payouts are bad. Why? There is no sponsorship money, period. Generally speaking, all companies have moved away from fishing. The non-endemics did it a couple years ago, more like 10 at this point. And the endemic sponsors are really getting tight-fisted with their money. So you're starting to see this slow bleed out of all the money to back all these events. And with things getting so expensive to fill up your bass boat to go drive to the lake, how do you make the purses a compatible payout? Unless you do the Alabama thing of you're going to have the state fund it, but good luck doing that in California. Good luck doing that in Maryland or Virginia that are as blue as can be. They're not going to put out the money for that crap. That's very regional specific that might fly. But I don't know any other ways to really increase the purse size for some of these smaller events.
And you're not going to. I mean, it's just it. Like you said, there's no purse, there's no entry fee, for the high school and college. And those are huge turnouts. For these others, you're not, unless it's run regionally, so that you get on board I'm telling you, I use Morristown Marine because it is an incredible little trail that averages 235 boats every single year. They did it last year. And yet now you're right. The economy is making it harder. And I think what you're going to see is consolidation. I've talked about it before. I personally said, I think the MLF cutting down to 50 is the right move.
Mm-hmm.
I think that eventually you're going to see one or two of the pro leagues finally just eat it. MPFL, they're doing well right now. We'll see how long that lasts. There's a little bit of a novelty because of what's going on. But how long before that novelty lasts? Because you know the people that's not arguing about forward-facing sonar? All these college and high school kids.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, I agree.
They're not tearing down the tournaments they want to fish. They're not arguing about it and pointing fingers at each other and running each other off, because that's what a lot of the arguments are doing, is running people off. How many people are quitting? How many people are tired of listening to the argues? How many people don't want to compete against forward-facing sonar? How many people don't want to have to deal with a co-angler on the back who might tell on you because you are 1 minute late? I mean, it's just creating more conflict, which I think is purposeful. And the thing of it is, I mean, hey, if it blows up on itself and it's just not profitable anymore, who's to blame? Not us, guys.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think what you're going to see, I think you'll end up seeing every year what will happen from both is through the college ranks, you're going to end up seeing these college kids go straight, get qualifying positions in the elites or the MLF. I think you'll see 2 or 3 go in. And you know what I've even thought about? I'm like you, Thomas. I could not put my finger on how the kayak part is going to work.
Yeah, that was weird. Yeah.
But if you allow them to trailer so that they can still fish pretty much anywhere on that lake, and you allow them whatever motor, you can go compete with boats. So now we open the door to, here's these pretty glitter boats and here's these kayaks that can trailer. Now there'll have to be some sort of officiating system, of course, but why not?
I'm seeing a lot more of the pop-up events going on, like Thomas has been putting on this year. And, I'm hearing the chatter. A lot of people are going to those. They like that month-long low entry fee. I can fish when I want to. Yeah,
and I mean, that's great for, I don't want to say it this way, but that's great for the novelty.
Yeah.
But that's like saying, hey, half your team's going to play the B squad in Wrigley.
But I guess what I'm saying is
going to play,
But I guess what I'm saying there, where we're lost is 10 or 15% of anglers that still want to fish.
Yeah.
And don't want to put up with all the BS. They can just go out by themselves.
Exactly.
And they can scratch the itch.
But you can't have qualifying events. My opinion, you can't have qualifying events that way.
No.
Or professional events that way. Because is it an even playing field if you're not on the same playing field?
Right.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that at all. I think that stuff is bleeding it away. And again, you said the kayak thing. If you go to a local county right now, you could probably get about $3,000, let's just say randomly, for a county event. Cool. For a bass boat tournament, that does basically nothing for an entry fee. But for a kayak event that's $50 and you're guaranteeing like a $3,000 entry fee, that's a hell of a return on investment. And that to me is where how do you cut out all of the fluff to make the margins better? I think doing these trailered weigh-ins, or you're driving trailers all over God's earth for the BFLs, like you could pull that cost out. I think the thing that when you have an app that takes a picture of the fish, the back end is so cheap.
Yeah.
There has to be ways to make these tournaments cheaper. And this is where I do think the catch weigh or catch photo release has something, is how much money does that save an organization to do it that way versus doing the weigh-in and trailering? Is that how we can get the cost down to make the entry or to make the payouts better? But if that is the answer, are people culturally who are ingrained in a certain way willing to make that adjustment to where we'll save, $10,000 over the year if we go this route and we can put that money back into payouts? I don't think a lot of people are willing to do that.
I understand that going into that in the catch, weigh, and release part, and we've brought it up so many times. Holy cow! But the weigh-in is pretty cool. I still enjoy the weigh-in myself, because that's how I've been in this like almost 15 years now. But with what Major League Fishing did when they did the catch, weigh, and release, yeah, it was pretty freaking awesome. But then it became a quick disconnect. And it became a disconnect between the angler and the fan. I had a bad day. I ain't got to stop and see nobody now. I don't talk to nobody. I don't tell anybody about K9 fishing and how great that plastic and the lures are. Unless I got 48 hours to watch him all day long while I'm at work. It's a working man or woman. We ain't got time for that. So that was what kind of killed me, I guess, being in the media and the press part of it, was that, I'm sitting there I'm waiting for Kevin Van Dam to show up at the boat ramp, and he decides he's got a bad day. He just loads up at another ramp, or, don't come back to the ramp. And, it might be a couple of kids waiting on this dude. And that whole part right there kind of killed it for me.
You're dealing with bass boat culture, seeing this new way of doing it. Now, I've been in both worlds, and in kayak culture, people don't ghost. They show up to the meet and greet because you get a brewery or a restaurant to sponsor and pay, and then you have everyone go there.
Yeah.
So,
and I think that's kind of what you have to do. I think you have to require them to come in, walk across the stage, do something at that level, the upper level. You've got to require them. You've got to require them to come in. You're a professional. Be professional.
Mm-hmm.
Like I always say, anybody that like NASCAR, there's a reason why nobody liked Kyle Busch when they didn't like Kyle Busch, and it's because he was a whiny little girl and wouldn't talk to the media when he had a bad day. And you can't be that way.
But you are right though about kayak fishing, Thomas, because when we ran our kayak series, it was besides the drama. The rest of it was pretty freaking great. And, when we ran, Danielle started the Bass Nation of Virginia Kayak Series. And, our last event before we turned it over to the new tournament director, we met at a bar and had dinner and all this stuff. And it was still that same tight hole. It's a different atmosphere, really.
It's a different atmosphere. It
really
is. And
but bass fishing used to be that way.
Bass fishing used to be that way.
Even boat fishing. But the problem is now, I even heard, those two young men I was listening to today, and I'm sorry, I don't remember their names. They were saying, there's no camaraderie in the BFLs. Everybody comes up, loads up, walks across stage, leaves. Nobody stands around and chit chats and talks anymore. And that's what fishing is about.
Yeah.
That's what fishing's always been about. And I think you do have to bridge that gap. It can't just be catch, photo, release, go home.
No.
Especially at the upper levels, there has to be some sort of interaction going on. I don't know how that is and how you want to do it. But.
Well, like for Mid-Atlantic, and then, if you guys are listening to this, you can let me know. But like the only way you can claim your prize or anything like that is you have to show up, or you're not given points. You're not given a lot of things. There's different things that you can do there. I just think like there are so many different aspects of, you have the old school way, you have the new school way. There's got to be a way to blend it together to make that work, to cut cost so you can have better payouts. There has got to be a way to do that. Because again, it just comes down to that. I don't care what people say, scope, no scope, a shitty lake, whatever. If I throw $100,000 as the prize, or $500 million or whatever, you guys would go fish a pond in Nebraska because it's the payout. That's always what it will always come down to. Hard stop.
Yeah.
how do we make that better? And I really don't know, because even if you make it regional, is there enough money in all these regional things to make good payouts?
And that was something that was what kind of killed me this year. I traveled to North Carolina for an English Choice event, giving away $10,000.
Mm-hmm.
There was maybe 27 boats there, 30 boats for $10,000.
But now, didn't you tell me Angler's Choice no longer has are they the one that don't have a championship?
They did not have a
anymore?
Championship this year,
And
they're
I'm
going
telling
back
you,
to a championship next year.
And they don't have the do they team up with Bass for like
They were teamed up with Bass until this year, and I think that's I didn't see it out there, guys, so please do not take this to gospel at all. I heard they were getting back into it in 2026. Do not take that as gospel, please.
It's not just the payout though, especially at that level. At our level, at we'll say the BFL or the Morristown Marine, it's not just that level. When I fish the Morristown Marine, they are 100% want to make that top 6 to make that Bassmaster Classic team championship.
Right.
It's they're going to go to incentives because everybody wants to live the dream. Not everybody's good enough to live the dream, but they're going to believe it until they don't. So you do have to have a good payout, but you do still have to have incentive.
We're going to move on from this real quick. Thomas brought it up earlier, and we've been reached out to as well. We're getting some bass in Smith Mountain Lake that we really don't want, and we're starting to see it come in. And I'll let Thomas talk about that real quick.
Yeah, it's not as much of a nice a nice segment talking point. Is more of an observation that there are spotted bass in Smith Mountain Lake that are hybridizing with the smallmouth. It sucks. They're in there. It's going to get worse. The end. I mean, Smith Mountain Lake sets up a lot like Bugs Island, where there's not a lot of SAV. It's a clear lake. You have blueback. You have all the different shad varieties there. It probably will, if there's enough of a population in there for them to be established, they will take off because it's a perfect lake for that. Lake Murray, they have a little bit of spotted bass, but largemouth are still predominant Lake Murray. The biggest reason is there's still a lot of grass in there. Lake Norman, when there's a good SAV in certain areas, you're not allowed to tell those areas, the largemouth flourish, or they do stocking FF1s or something like that to balance it out. But in general, clear pelagic lakes usually do well with spotted bass, generally speaking. And so this kind of sucks for Smith Mountain Lake if this is true.
So what needs to happen is no length limit on spotted bass. And I can tell you firsthand, I'm not afraid to admit this, they eat as good as crappie. So
I wonder about the tiger bass that's been in there for about 10 years. I wonder about, the size they get. Will it, wonder if they would help keep the population down, because they're pretty evasive as well.
They are. The biggest thing with spots is they have more of a wolf pack mentality. If you guys have ever been to a spotted bass lake, look at your scope. It's like a beehive. They swarm. Yes. They can stunt out a fishery unless you have certain things. To get the Lake Lanier or some of these SoCal lakes, you need a certain forage species. You need big blueback herring. You need kokanee salmon. You need something like that to work with that species. Hartwell is just big enough and has a big enough population of shad. It somehow works at Lake Hartwell. But to literally get that legit size spot that everyone thinks is so cool, it's a perfect factor of different species to kind of make that whole system work. And most lakes don't have that. And if you look at like North Carolina, a couple of lakes that have spotted bass introduced to it, it's stunted. They don't have that booming spot, and that's because they don't have the forage, the water clarity, all the factors that's needed to make that work.
We did pull. I was down there for an event. I think it was a Bass Nation of Virginia event. It was, yeah, and we saw a 5-pound spotted bass come out of there. So, we are seeing them starting to get a little bit bigger than the 2 to 3 pounds that we're used to. Because, a lot of guys down there were talking about, hey, if you don't have a kicker, you don't have a bag. I mean, you need that 5 to 7, 5+ pound bass. to go with those 2 to 3 pound spotted bass that you can collect pretty daggone fast because they're hungry.
Yeah, and it gives them something that just an overall interesting interconnected web when it talks about pelagic species, live scope, habitat, and if you want to have a truly good fishery, and I think the Bassmaster winners this year kind of highlighted that, you need a lake with good habitat, and that doesn't mean real tree tire brush piles. That means you have lily pads, you have some type of grass. Gunnersville is in the heart of Alabama bass territory. All the lakes around Gunnersville have a shit ton of spots in them. Why does Gunnersville not have that issue? Because of all the eelgrass and stuff, it just, for some reason, no one knows why, they don't do well there, and it gives largemouth a really good fighting chance. Let grass grow in Smith Mountain Lake. Let some grass, God forbid, grow in bugs. You will have a fantastic fishery, and guess what? You won't need live scope. You can frog, you can punch, you can chatterbait. So if we take better care of these lakes, I think it would fix this. But if you're going to make it a gin clear swimming pool with nothing for these fish to hide on, no shit, they're going to be in the middle of the lake chasing bait. But we're going to act like it's rocket surgery. It's not.
We have seen a little bit of grass on Smith Mountain Lake, so guys, please don't kill it. All right, just a little bit. It's not a lot, but please don't kill it because we really, really need it, and we really need more of it, like Thomas was saying.
So please don't let your stay-at-home mom vote on that stuff. Lock her in the closet. I went to a board meeting, I think it was like Holiday, and all it is just stay-at-home moms that are talking about like how they want to change the hunting laws, and most of them don't even know what a firearm is, but they're the ones that are like, oh yeah, this is where you're allowed to do duck hunting and stuff. And it's like, how did we get to this point where we're having people make laws for certain things? Anyway, it just blows my mind. Guys, if you have a lake near you, find out when the homeowners association meetings are, go to one of them. Represent your lake, because they will pass stuff that you will not know about, but it will affect you.
Wow.
That's my TED
All
talk.
right, guys. So anything else going on, guys? That's all I really know is happening right now. Like I said, the season's...
Boyd came out. Basically, you get to go.
Oh yeah,
go
angler.
To the closet. Oh wait, no, sorry.
Yeah, no, that'd be intelligent. We all guessed, how are they going to enforce this rule? And some of us, me and Hank, were like, well, they're just going to rely on the good Christian, just do your best mentality. And a lot of people online said that's stupid. They have this super plan out there. Bullshit. They had no plan. It is basically go out there and just have your co-angler judge you. That's the plan.
What was it? I heard a lot of people talking about boxes with time.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not a guy, for you all that don't know, and I don't know about all that.
If you guys, hopefully you all listened to last week's episode of Bass Cast Radio. I titled last week's show, "Who Will Police the Co-Angler?"
Yep.
And that's what it's going to be. Dave Rush came on. Appreciate him coming on and talking with us, and we're definitely going to have him back on some more. Great dude. We love having him on. But that's really what's going to be. It's going to be, like we said, here's $50. Just keep it running for a little bit longer.
Yeah. And I get, like, I this is a great Rorschach test of people that just believe in the greatness of society and people. And then you have miserable, pessimistic people like me. They're like, this is so dumb. Like, drop $20 on the sidewalk and just hope the goodness of society won't steal it. This is going to be an issue. We will see a headline of this being an issue. Why? If you have a company, are you so stupid that you would make a rule that would create drama? Unless it's not ignorance, it's orchestrated. Tinfoil hat, baby, because I think there's something like that going on. Yep.
It's happening.
It's happening.
Real. It's real.
Yeah.
Here we go. That's a heck of a way to end tonight's episode, everybody. All right, guys. Like I said, it's kind of quiet around the house. We're getting really close to the holiday season here. Christmas right around the corner. Discount tackle. It's in the section below. Our Patreon, if you'd like to support Basscast Radio. If you're looking for great tackle deals, Discount Tackle, click the link and head on over. And every little bit helps support Basscast Radio and keeps us on the air, by the way, because it's almost time to pay the bill again, boys and girls. So check it out. Appreciate you guys. Before we run off tonight, Thomas, anything?
You love me, you hate me, you know the deal. Go check out my channel. I got 3 to 4 episodes dropping. I'm almost caught up. I only have I think 10 episodes that are pre-recorded right now, and it was like 15 or 18 like a week ago, 2 weeks ago. So we're starting to cut down on them as we're getting out of our busy season. So that's awesome. So go check it out.
Bass Geek.
You know, we're at 91,000, almost 48.
Guys, 9,000.
We're still growing. It's slowing down a little bit, which it always does, sort of that end of October. Like I said, all those quitters are out there in the woods. But I understand that, guys. You know, you can't all be hardcore like me. I'm kidding. But, yeah, you know, we're still pumping them out three a week. You know, we're talking a lot about fall transition. We're talking a lot about, you know, talking a lot about how temperature and how watercolor. We're talking a lot about what I've learned over the past 4 or 5 years of fishing the same, you know, 2-3 lakes and really following these bass around of how it affects them when the water temps start to drop, when they become stable, how it affects them when it starts to raise. And that's been some really eye-opening stuff to watch how these fish react to water temperature. And I'm telling you, 2 cues I think that you really have to pay attention to that are more important than even I thought were water clarity and water temperature. They play bigger roles than you think, and we talk about that a lot.
Thomas, do you have something?
No, but just listening. That's awesome.
All right, guys.
When you get your plaque, are you going to do something cool like blow it up or some kind of video?
Oh gosh.
I've worked way too hard for that son of a bitch.
We just want to get the plaque.
I might sleep with it.
It'd be a photo. All right, it'd be a photo of Bass Geek all tucked in, holding the plaque. Hey, can we get 9,000? You guys head on over right now and hit subscribe button. I know it's not that many people listening to Basscast Radio, but tell all your friends, hit the share button, hit the like button. It's another podcast I listen to. Tell a damn friend. There you go. To head on over to Basscast Radio and Fish in the DMV. Follow us all. Appreciate you guys. Have a great week, and we'll see you right back here next week on Basscast Radio.